Hello and welcome to my podcast, The Long Way Forward. If you're someone who wants to do better in life, but you don't really know where to start, this is for you. Not because you're lazy, not because you haven't tried, but because most advice doesn't tell you what actually matters first, where to begin. You can read the books, watch the videos, and listen to podcasts, and somehow you can still feel stuck when it comes time to apply any of it. This podcast exists to give you a starting point that feels clear, steady, and doable. Welcome to The Long Way Forward. This podcast is for people who want to perform better in life, but don't know where to start. I didn't know when to start, where to start, how to start. Each episode focuses on one area that helps you build discipline, self-discipline that is, clarity, leadership, and sustainable progress without shortcuts, hype, or noise. If you stick with it, you won't be overwhelmed. You won't be told to change everything. You'll just get clearer about what to do next. Your background. Well, my background actually. We're all on the journey. I should tell you a little bit about where I'm coming from. I didn't begin in leadership, although today that's what I am. I began delivering parcels. That's all I knew how to do when I left school. Early mornings, long days, low wages, but learning reliability the practical way. Devising my own methods for success. Over time, I moved into operations management. Applied the same methodology there, and then I took a sideways step into sales, the dark side of the force, they called it, and eventually from there into where I am today, leadership, and now into management. None of it was a straight line. None of it was fast, and along the way, nobody told me how to get there. I don't want that to be you. What it did, that journey, was give me perspective. I've worked at the ground level. I've managed systems. I've carried targets. I've led teams. And along the way, I've learned that performance without sustainability doesn't last. Not environmentally, not organisationally, and not personally. Now, on environmental sustainability, it matters to me deeply. The planet we have today is the one we leave behind for our children and their children after them. So let's look after it. That might come into this podcast every now and then. I work in an industry where long-term thinking isn't optional. You can't ignore impact and expect the system to keep going. That idea extends beyond the environment. Effort that burns you out isn't sustainable. Leadership that exhausts people and burns them out isn't sustainable. And growth that ignores consequences isn't sustainable. The long way forward is about building things that last. This isn't you can tell I'm new at this. This isn't a motivation podcast. It's not about intensity. It's not about becoming someone else overnight, although along the journey you will learn some new tools, some new tips, some new tricks. It's about steady improvement. Starting with honest self-assessment. Managing your time like it matters, because it does. You don't get any more. Learning to lead yourself before you try to lead anybody else. So if you're listening to this and thinking, I want to be a little bit more disciplined. I'd love to manage my time better. I want to lead well. And I want to improve, but I don't want to burn out. That's exactly who this is for. You know, I've found that most people don't fail because they lack ambition. They fail because they lack focus. They try to change everything all at once, or because they never pause to assess honestly where they are. Self-improvement begins with self-assessment. It's your foundation. Not harshly, not emotionally, just honest. Know your strengths. Know your weaknesses. Where am I strong? Where am I inconsistent? Where might I be avoiding responsibility or putting things off? Remember, clarity, knowing what's what, beats intensity every time. So over time, this podcast should make your days feel more settled, more planned, outcomes better predictable. Your decisions will be clearer. Your follow-through will be stronger, again, because it will be planned and it will come from a place of knowledge. Not because you're doing more, but because you're focused on what actually matters. Now, there are a few threads you'll hear repeatedly here. Sustainability, both environmental and personal. I've come close to burnout. I know the feeling. It's awful. Sustainability means that which is capable of being continued. And it's the same for any workload. Time is something you'll hear more of as well, because how you use it shapes everything, and leadership, because it starts with how you manage yourself and flows through to how you manage others. And honest reflection, because growth without awareness is unstable. And awareness comes through self-analysis and honest reflection. Now, we'll come back to these concepts again and again. Now, remember, this podcast is not about becoming exceptional overnight. It's about becoming reliable, capable, thoughtful. The long way isn't flashy, but it holds. This is the long way forward. If you don't know where to start, starting here is enough. Thanks for taking time to listen to my podcast. Do look at a few other more episodes, and if you decide this is for you, I'd love to have you on the journey. Thanks again.